What is up, Sneeples? Outsiders has officially been released. In this video, what I want to do is go over the assassin cards that are coming out. We have skirmish around the season. Could we be playing the new Arachne in the Blitz skirmish? As well as Pro Tour coming around, will we expect to see Azuri? So let's get into it. I'm going to give a card evaluation for each assassin card. Alright, let's start off with Plague Hive. This is an assassin / ranger gem. We're going to go over some of the multi-class cards today because they are all assassins. And it is our first yellow pitch gem. When we pitch this, we can get Inertia, Frailty, or Blood Rot Pox. This is the last card that was spoiled to us. Honestly, guys, it's always cool to have a gem. It definitely is. Like, if you get a gem, you should be excited. It's a really cool thing. But as far as playability, I don't see this one being very valuable. I don't think Uzuri really wants this. Maybe you can play it in Arachne. That is Arachne Huntsman. Just because you might have a little bit of spot here and there. I just don't think it does enough for something that doesn't block. Had this card said you choose which token they get, then it's a totally different question. Then this card is amazing. It might just be the best gem. But because it is at random, I don't think this gets like enough marks for it to take up a slot in a CC or even Blitz deck. Uzuri, just the heroes, and then Arachne. I do think we're going to come out with a tier list video. We'll do it for both CC and Blitz since the Blitz season is upon us. But I do think Uzuri is going to be seen in the meta. I'm not sure about Arachne Solitary Confinement. We get the Spider Bite. I think every assassin should be running one of these. Nerve Scalpel is the other one. I think when you're assassins, you want to have Spider Bite one hand, Nerve Scalpel on the other. And the reason is because of... we can just kind of skip to it. Let's go all the way down here to the multi-class card. The reason is because of Flick Knives, which is an assassin card. So it is one of the legendary equipments that we get out of the set. And being able to throw that Nerve Scalpel in response to a D-React, in order to get the on-hit, is pretty big. I think it's really, really good. So I think because of Flick Knives, you want to always start off with a Spider Bite for the attack and Nerve Scalpel for the throw. Alright, and then they got Nerve Scalpels on both sides. Very cool. Orbital class. This, I think, you're only going to really see against Icelander. Very good against Icelander. I actually think this helps Arachne Huntsman out. And then definitely is going to be used for Uzuri. Then we have Scale Peeler. This is probably the one that gets used the least. I could only really see this against Oldham, but I think you have better options. And I just don't think it's quite there. Finally, we got Redback Shroud. And, I think this card's really cool. I think the full art looks amazing. But I don't think it's a good card. I think this might be one of the weaker legendaries of the set. And the reason is because I don't think Uzuri needs to play this card. Or even wants to. She could. She definitely could. But I don't think she needs to. And I don't think Arachne Huntsman needs to as well. So I think this card falls a little short because of just Mask of Perdition and Black Tech Whispers are probably going to be taking up the silver slots in order to get them back. I don't think you're going to be using your silver all that much to get your Redback Shroud back. So, alright, moving on. Let's get into the attack actions. Let's talk about Infiltrate. Infiltrate is personally one of my favorite cards because I really like cards that allow you to play with your opponent's cards. And Infiltrate, as far as I know, is the first Flesh and Blood card that lets you do this. And so I'm stoked about it. But it's probably not the best card to use in CC. Maybe in Blitz, I could see Arachne Solitary Confinement making use of this card. But in CC, it's merely okay. There's definitely better stealth cards for Uzuri. And as far as Arachne goes, I don't think he's going to be playing a lot of stealth cards, and I don't think this ability is worth enough to take up 3 slots, especially when he works off contract so well. So Infiltrate, very cool card, but sadly I don't think it is like must be played. Now Shakedown, on the other hand, must be played if you're Uzuri. This is her specialization. Most special, if not all specializations, are played with the heroes. This is no exception. Just a great way to disrupt your opponent, take a card out of their hand. Just, yeah, very, very good card. I don't think I have to go more about that. Spreading Plague, another very good card. All right, these two Majestics are going to be played. I think both Arachne Huntsman and Uzuri are going to be playing these cards, especially against very block-heavy decks like Bravo or Oldham. And being able to give your opponent Blood Rot Pox and basically punish them for blocking is really, really huge. The fact that it says cards too, so it counts for equipment, is mwah. Alright, so those are the Majestics right off the bat. Now let's get into just the stealth cards. First we have Backstab. I do think, as far as backstabs go, I think you probably want to run the blues if you're Uzuri. I don't think Arachne Huntsman is going to be running any stealth cards. Maybe Arachne Solitary Confinement, but Backstab is like okay against him. It's not bad to be playing it as Arachne Solitary Confinement, because you can then like spike with Inertia, or spike with Frailty, or spike with Blood Rot, whatever the case, and then they can't de-react to that. So that's pretty good, but I don't know if it's... I mean, if you have the spot, I guess you can play it, but as far as Uzuri, you probably only want the blue, just because you don't need the red. You're going to probably be switching it anyways, and the combo here is if you can switch this with a Command and Conquer, and basically meaning at no point could they play any sort of de-react against you. Alright, moving on to Sneak Attack. Sneak Attack is definitely more of an Uzuri card than an Arachne card, but even then, I'm not very huge on this card. It is just basic damage. It's basically like a Fiendl's Fighting Spirit for Arachne. It's a 2 for 7. Or for Uzuri, I'm sorry. Like, it's a 2 for 7, but it's really a card for 7, right? Because you're doing the switch. It's okay. It's damage. It's big damage, but like there's no on hit, so it's nothing special. Arachne Solitary Confinement could run this if you're running enough attack reactions, or you plan to use your boots on it, or Mass Perdition, or whatever case. Then that will count to give it +4. So, you know, a 2 for 7 is good value that blocks for only 2 though. So that's the part that I was like, man, if it's blocked for 3, that would have been actually very good. I think you'd only want reds with the Sneak Attack. Alright, so now let's get into the spikes. So when I see the spike with Blood Rot, spike with Frailty, and spike with Inertia, I'm more drawn to it as Arachne Solitary Confinement. I think he works best with these attack reactions. I think he needs these attack reactions. But you could play this in Uzuri as well. You know, this does help out with hands where you only have stealth cards and no like switch cards. And so having these like spikes can help at least present damage. But I think this is really an Arachne Solitary Confinement type card. And I think generally Blood Rot is like in most cases is going to be your best one. Second being Inertia, and then third being Frailty. Obviously, everything is case dependent on who you're facing, what the arsenal looks like, and what the board state look, whatever the case. But Blood Rot tends to be the best in general. All right, moving on. Infect. Because of Blood Rot being the best in general, I think Uzuri doesn't mind running the red, especially Arachne Solitary Confinement. You definitely want to run the red. It's very, very good. And then run the blue as Uzuri for sure, just to do the little switch. And if not, hey, that's, you know, it's basically a 0 for 3 because of the Blood Rot pucks. Isolate. This is so much an Uzuri card, it's not even funny. Isolate is so good because it just makes it where your Uzuri switch just cannot be blocked, and that's really, really good. That's what we're looking for here. It's can be pretty good with Arachne if you pair it with, like, you know, one of these spikes, but it's definitely more of an Uzuri card, but a very good card, very playable. She should have all three versions, red, yellow, and blue. All right, next is Malign. This card is probably like the worst of the stealth cards. It's okay. In limited, it's actually really good because there's a lot of damage prevention like Peace of Mind and Brush Off. But in the constructed settings, not so much. And so therefore Malign is a little lackluster in constructed. I think only Arachne Solitary Confinement would run the red. And even then, if you have slots for something else, it might just be worth doing that. Now, Prowl, on the other hand, is a very good Arachne Solitary Confinement card because this is exactly what he's looking to do. He's looking to play 2 stealth cards, or at least coming up 2 attacks, and this allows you to play 2 stealth cards, Prowl, and then your next stealth card. So if you play a Prowl and then you come in with an Infect 0 for 4, now you're at a break point. Now you make things weird for your opponent, and that's pretty good. So the fact that it doesn't even have to hit, the fact that it's just like a static effect is huge. So I think Prowl should definitely be played with Arachne Solitary Confinement, and probably just him. I don't think you play with Uzuri. All right, next you have Sedate. I think you play the red in Arachne Solitary Confinement, but then as far as Uzuri, you can probably play the blue because inertia tokens are still good. I still think that's probably worth your time to go ahead and play that. In Arachne, you can also play the blues as well, just because, like, even if this is your second attack, it kind of still has to be blocked if your opponent cares about their arsenal. All right, next up is Wither. This is a good Arachne card. I don't think Uzuri needs this card. You know, here again, you probably just want the red, maybe the blues, but probably just the red. All right, Razor's Edge. This is a pure Arachne card. I mean, he is on the art. Arachne Solitary Confinement, that is. I know I keep saying that, but I just want to be clear that Arachne Huntsman is not going to be playing these stealth cards. I don't think there's room for that. So just like the fact that it's an attack reaction that gives +3, so it's good, 0 for 3. But it also blocks for 3, and that's actually pretty huge. Very much so in limited as well as constructed for Arachne. So very good card. Should be drafted early if you know your assassin, and should be built with in the Arachne Solitary Confinement deck. Okay, so these are all the assassin only cards. Let's get into the mixed cards because we do have access to these cards, so we might as well look at them as well. So first it goes assassin ninjas. I mentioned flick knives earlier. I think with Uzuri, you really want flick knives. It's so good. Like, this card makes it where basically your opponent starts off with 2 less health, and on top of that, you can threaten to, like, get rid of their good defense react block. Like, basically by throwing this knife, you take that away from them. So it's very, very good. I very much like flick knives. Blade Cuff. I like this in draft. The fact that it blocks and has a really good ability, I think it's pretty good. I didn't originally see that it had daggers, so giving all your daggers +1. I like this a little bit more for ninja than I do for assassin, but still a very good draft card, and I think that's about it. Playing commoner. But all right, so Stab Wound. I think this is more of a ninja card than it would be an assassin card. All these cards we're going to go over that are multi-class cards are probably going to be good in limited. So, if you have this in limited as an assassin, you're probably okay. It's probably fine. But yeah, I think this is more of a ninja card. I don't see Uzuri or Arachne Huntsman playing this card. Next up is Concealed Blade. Now this one I do see use in constructed, especially when you're running flick knives, and I think you are with Uzuri. So I think Concealed Blade can work for Uzuri very well in order to just re-equip. So I actually am pretty big on this card. The fact that it blocks for 3 as well is huge, and it's a good blue pitch to pitch for your spider bite. All right, Knives Out. I am not huge on this card in Constructed. I just don't think it's there, not for Assassins. I don't even think it's there for Arachne Solitary Confinement. I just don't think it's there right now for Assassins. Maybe for Ninjas, though. Bleed Out, as you can see, there's a lot of dagger theme here. Bleed Out is more of a ninja card because they can make it work so much easier than an assassin. So I tend to like the red one's good and limited, but I tend to avoid the other two. Hurl, I actually really like Hurl in limited. I don't care if you're an assassin. I don't care if you're a ninja. I actually kind of like it more as an assassin. I think this card's actually a very good card. In limited. Maybe Arachne Solitary Confinement can play it in Blitz. I wouldn't be opposed to that. It's actually a pretty good card, so maybe that. Alright, Plunge I especially like for both classes, but Assassin I think is fine. I could possibly even see Plunge being used in a Blitz setting with Arachne Solitary Confinement. I mean, it's not a bad card at all. I don't think you play with Uzuri. I don't think it really sees classic constructed play. Short and Sharp, just a limited card, really. Just a card to kind of get you a win or get some damage through with your dagger or something. Very good for Arachne and limited, but not much else. So. Alright, now let's look at the Assassin Ranger stuff. Mask of Malicious Manifestations. I really like this mask. This is one of my favorite masks to draft. Defense or 1 too. So it's a very good mask. I think I like it a little high. Toxic Tips, not bad either. Not the greatest if you're Uzuri, if you have a very streamlined Uzuri deck, just because Uzuri switches, so then your target will be canceled, and so you'll lose out on this. But it still blocks for 1, so really can't scuff at it. Alright, now let's talk about the Codexes for Assassin. So, Codex of Bloodrot is okay. It's not the best Codex, but it's okay. If you're Uzuri and you have a Leave No Witness in hand or Command and Conquer in hand, which these are both cards you play in that deck, no doubt, then this becomes very, very good. But it's not the best one. The best one is Codex of Frailty. And the reason why it's the best one is because it lets you take it from the grave, which means that you don't have to have the Leave No Witness or Command and Conquer in your hand. And there's a higher chance that you'll have it in the grave throughout the series of a game. I think this is a 3 of. I really like this card. The only thing that it doesn't do is block for 3, but it's okay. I mean, it does everything else. It gives you a Ponder token. It gives them a Frailty token, and then you can give them an Arsenal and then threaten to destroy it right at the same turn. So it's just such a good card. I think Codex Frailty is one of the best, and I think Codex of Inertia is one of the worst. This might be more of a Ranger card than it is a Assassin card, and even for Rangers, I'm not big on it. But this is just about Assassins, and I'm just here to say I'm not very huge on Codex of Inertia. Codex of Frailty is, I think, undeniably the best one. Codex of Bloodrot isn't bad either. Next is Death Touch. This is an Uzuri card through and through. You definitely want to play the reds. You can even play the yellows, maybe even the blues, honestly. This is what we want the gym to do, is to have it where we can decide what token they can get, which makes this so powerful. I don't know about Arachne Solitary Confinement, and I don't even know about Arachne Huntsman. I could see maybe you can run it in either one of those Arachne decks, but you're going to kind of have to work for it just because it can't be played from hand, so you have to have it in your arsenal. But Uzuri loves this. Uzuri does not care about that. Next up, Toxicity. I am not really huge on any of the toxicities for Assassin. I could maybe see it for Ranger, but yeah, not very big on it. Not very big on it. And then we have Virulent Touch. I like this in Limited quite a bit for Uzuri. In Constructed, that's where I'm at. I think if you were to play in constructed, I tend to like the blue a little bit more, just because like it doesn't really matter. Like you want your stealth card to get blocked, and then you switch into this, so you basically just give them a blood rot pox. And so I don't think it has to be red. It could just be blue, just so you have some pitch value. But it blocks for 2, so it doesn't even block for 3. I don't know. Just not that big on it, to be honest. All right, let's talk about the traps. It's kind of insane that assassins get, access to these traps, but they're pretty damn cool. So Blood Rot Trap, a very good trap to draft, because there's a lot of reactions in this set, especially if you're going against Assassin. So I actually really like Blood Rot Trap in Limited. In Constructed, if you expect to see a lot of Azuris, okay. Otherwise, I don't think you really want to make room for this card. Frailty Trap, again, really like this in Limited. For Constructed, it really just depends. Are you going to see a lot of Katsus? I think this is best against Katsu. I mean, he is part of this set, so it would make sense to have something that counters him. And I think that's the one where I would bring it in. But as of now, maybe like Lexi as well. I could see that. If you're seeing a lot of Katsus or Lexi, okay. Inertia Trap. This one I think is ran in Constructed. I think as Azuri, you run this. Even as Arachne Huntsman, I think you run this. This card's actually really good. There's a ton of decks out there that pump up their attacks, even just through attacking. Like even Icelander with Wounded Bull and E-Strike pump up their attacks. So Inertia Trap even affects those guys. And yeah, it's a really good card. I really like this card. I think this is a definite 3 of in an Azuri deck, and probably even an Arachne Huntsman deck too. That is the Assassin cards. Quite a bit of them. They have the largest pool from outsiders, but that is how I see each card is going to be played in the formats to come with Classic, Constructed, and Blitz. Maybe gotta give you a little bit of limited knowledge there too. So thanks for watching, guys. We're going to get the other heroes out there as well, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, keep on fabbing. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you like this shirt or the others we have just like it, we sell shirts and keychains and more to come. Go to fleshandbaubles.com, enter the promo Sneep, and you can get 10% off your entire order. Some really cool stuff, some really cool gift ideas. We would really appreciate your help supporting us. Thank you.